Shalom and welcome back to Talking Torah. Not only welcome back to all of you after what I hope was a wonderful summer, but a big welcome back to Rabbi Klein. Welcome back from your sabbatical, and welcome back to Talking Torah. It's a thrill to be back with you.
It's great to be back with you, and glad that we could talk Torah, and glad that we could be with you and share some of these incredible messages of Torah that mean a lot to us, and we hope mean something to you as well, maybe as much to you as they do to us.
Yes.
You know, I wanted to talk about today, and I know you have something, I have something, so we'll get to everything. As I open Ki Tavo, there is that long recitation that people may remember, or people may remember, is found in the Haggadah,
Right.
Passover evening. It is the recitation of the Israelite, now in Israel, who has grown a crop, right? And who brings that crop to the temple. And there he says, I guess she could say as well, right? It makes the following statement. It's not just a matter of bringing the crop. The person needs to say, "My father was a fugitive Aramean." That you remember from the Haggadah. He went down to Egypt with meager numbers, sojourned there, became a great and populous nation. The Egyptians dealt harshly with us, oppressed us, imposed heavy labor upon us. We cried. The Lord our God heard our plea, redeemed us from Egypt with a mighty hand, brought us to this place, gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Wherefore I now bring the first fruits of the soil, which you, O Lord, have given me. And I love that part of the Torah. Not only because it's leading us up to the Seder meal, and I really, really love the Seder meal, but because it says something that resonates very deeply. This Israelite, living in Israel now, is the beneficiary of so much, and he knows it. She knows it. He or she knows that hundreds of years of slavery happened. He or she knows that these people lived through hell. He or she knows that his ancestors, her ancestors, traveled through the desert. They know all of that. And so when they reach this moment of really celebration, we're in our land, we've grown our crop, here it is. That person says, I really walk on the shoulders of my ancestors. They went through everything so that I could have this moment. They went through slavery, they went through the desert, so I could be here, and my children could be here, and we could have this moment of bringing crops into our temple. And what I thought about is this, I of course, and I'm sure you're the same way, and we speak about this, I'm very, very connected to the idea that who I am is so much of a product of who my ancestors were. My parents, my grandparents, great-grandparents, and beyond that, I wish I knew who they were. I really do. It's one of the great mysteries of life. I wish I knew who my great-grandparents were and great-great-grandparents.
Yeah.
It hurts that you don't know that. But I think of my grandparents who left Europe at very young ages, right? 10, 11, 8, 14, Romania, Hungary, came here. What they had to do to come here. So that their great-grandson or grandson or great-great-grandson could have what I know, could be what I've become. And so I think of them, I think of all their sacrifices, and I know that whatever I am, whatever I've become, was only because there were some incredible people who made this journey in my life possible because of their journey. And one of the things is, we're at the time right before Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur when it's traditional for us to go to the cemeteries, what we call Kever Avot, visiting the graves of our ancestors, parents, if need be, and grandparents, great-grandparents, if you know them. And isn't it interesting that we read this just at the time we should be going to the cemetery? Because when I go visit my parents or when I go visit my grandparents, I'm absolutely mindful of how absolutely grateful I am because of who they were. And how much I feel that they live on within me. And that I have hopefully taken from their sacrifices and their journeys and made something meaningful of it.
Yeah. And, you know, that as you're talking about that, my mind is going to a different section also of this Torah reading, which you're talking about Kever Avot, the tombstones.
Right.
And I'm thinking then also about the stones that the Israelites are leaving behind as they prepare to cross the Jordan River. And you think about it, you know, we are no matter how old you are at this moment, we're all the sandwich generation, because we all have our minds to the past and what's come before us,
right.
And we all want to think about the future and what our influence and the mark that we're going to leave is going to be. And so the Israelites leave behind the Torah, basically, on the stones, and not just Torah, specifically the words of Torah from this week's Parsha that say that you should give charity, you should give money to the yatom, to the orphan, to the widow, and to the stranger in your midst. And so when we think about our past and the people whose stones we go and we visit, we think about the impact that they had on our lives and the way that it can inspire us to what's the influence that you're going to make? What are your shoulders going to look like for future generations to stand on? That's a huge part of this week's Parsha as well, is that bridge between the past that you're talking about and the influence that we want to make in the present for the future.
The rest of the world is setting up monuments of military victories, monuments about the kings, the pharaohs, monuments that tell of the greatness of individuals. That was the way of the world. That was the way of the world. Moses comes along and says, that's not us. That's not us.
Right.
We're going to put up a monument, but that monument is going to tell us who we are.
Right.
The monument is going to tell us about what our values and commitments are. And you're right. Part of those values and commitments has to deal with and has to do with what we do to care for our fellow human being.
Right.
So there's nothing selfish about this. There's nothing self-serving. There's nothing glorious or grandiose. This is about you getting into Israel. Okay? Put these monuments up as a reminder as to how you need to be different.
Right.
How you need to bring God into this world. And it's just magnificent because, you know, you go to places, you know, and during the sabbatical I had an opportunity to travel to different places. Everywhere you go, you know, every king, every general has a monument. You know?
Yeah, a temple.
Yeah. We put up a monument to Torah.
Right.
Big difference.
That's a big difference. And, you know, I also just am thinking, as we're recording this, it's September 11th. And when we think about our past generations and the marks that people make in remembering, we dedicate our learning today to the memories of all the people who perished in the towers, in the Pentagon, in the flight, in the field.
In Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, exactly. And so their memories should always be for a blessing. The memories of all of our loved ones, as we think to the high holidays, should always be for a blessing. And everything that we do on this earth, on our time here alive, should always be for a blessing.
That's, you know, that's very much the point. Someone once said to me, not so long ago, she said to me something very wise. She said, you know, I have the power in my life to do good or to do bad.
Yeah.
To wish people well or to wish them bad. To bring goodness into their lives or bring bad into their lives. She said, there's not enough life to waste on bringing bad.
That's right.
It's just not enough life. So yes, you bring the blessing, you remember people as a blessing, and you try to channel that blessing into all that you do.
Yeah.
It's good to be back with you.
Yes, thank you. I'm so glad to have you back. We want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom. We look forward to Justin Cohan's Bar Mitzvah this coming Shabbat, and look forward to the high holidays and and everything that goes along with that.
Next week we have to talk to them about Slicho.
Oh, Slicho, yes. Save the date.
Save the date. Saturday, September 20th in the evening. We'll tell you all about it next week. Hopefully you'll join us for that.
Yes. So have a great Shabbat, and we'll see you next time.
Shabbat Shalom.